Now let's talk about how to make your emails look good. So you want your emails to be professional. You have a list now. How should your emails look? And so a lot of times we kind of go overboard. We want to make them pretty. We put a lot of emphasis and things like that. And you may be surprised what really actually converts well, because you really don't want to put a ton of things in there, because even if you are um, either big company, small company, whatever kind of company, you want to have a professional image. And there's a few things you can do in order to do that. And a lot of it is doing less than more. And so looking about, what it is that you're with the layout and what you should and shouldn't do. So first of all, make the layout super clean and simple. White background, black lettering, really not much more than that. I mean, you can have a lot of times there's like the page will have an outline. You can have like a light gray on the outside. Um, that's very little what you really need. If you look at emails from like big companies, I usually use Apple for example. They're really good because they're very consumer focused. You look at them, it's black, white, and light gray. Those are their three colors. Very monochromatic, and you can keep it that way. You can have, one other color that if you want to use it for other things, you can do that. But make it very limited. If you start using rainbow colors and things like that, then that's going to make it really over the top. And even for a more of a playful type of company, if you're catering to children, for example, maybe you would put a little more color into it, but not that much more. So really keep it simple. It just makes for readability, and especially because you are on different devices and you just want to make it easy for people to read. The easiest thing for people to read is black text on a white background. You could do black with white, but it's just not as readable. So if you want people to read your stuff easier, then that's the best thing to do as much as possible. So you can do slight variations from that, but keep it as fairly simple as that. Normally, the default settings in most email autoresponders is that, just because that's what's most popular and that's what's most readable. So I would use that. Second of all, if you're going to use high quality images, you do very high quality ones. You want them to look good. If you want to put your logo at the top, then put your logo at the top or at the very bottom. One or the other. You don't have to do both. And just make sure they're high quality, that come through. You also want to make sure that they're going to load fast. So a lot of times you can have a high quality, but it has to be web optimized. So just make sure that they're not like blurry. If you try to zoom into them too much. So those are the kinds of things you want to do. You want it to look professional at the same time. You don't want to be so big and hard to load, especially if they're on someone that's on mobile. A large image will take too long to load, and a lot of times that won't. People just give up. If it takes too long to load, then they just won't look at it. So great to have high quality images. You don't need to use a lot either. I would say one at the very one. I would probably try to stay within that. If you got to use two, then you can use two, but I'd really try to keep it to one, if at all. So don't need to have a ton of images there because it's not needed. Because most people are there to read your images. Also, is easy to read fonts. Okay, so you want to make sure it's easily read. Don't use anything that is hard to read. There's sans type of stuff. Arial is good. Anything that's used in documents. Just people want to read their stuff on your screen. You don't want to use any kind of script language and stuff like fonts and things like that, just because it's going to be hard for them to to read, especially if it's on the small screen. So everybody's eyes are a little bit different. Also, the font size. I usually go for 16-point font across the board as a minimum. You can go a little larger, but I wouldn't go 14. Just seems to be too small overall. So that's what I would aim for is at least 16-point font, something that's very readable and easy on the eyes, so that your people will actually read your emails and it's just easier for them to read it. And then I've kind of touched on this a few times, but mobile responsiveness. Again, a lot of people are reading this on mobile, or they're at least looking at it on mobile. And if you don't want people to just delete it right away because it's too hard to read, then you need to make sure it's mobile friendly. Because a lot of time people will be looking at your emails through mobile, and the last thing you want to do is like, wow, this is just too hard to read. And so it also has come to like paragraph size as well. If you have like really long paragraphs, then on mobile it looks really hard to read, or it looks like daunting to read. It's like, I don't want to read all this. I have too much to do. So that's kind of where you want to keep the paragraphs small and make sure that the font is big enough that is readable on a cell phone. Not everybody has the huge tablet cell phone type sizes. So if someone has like a standard screen size, it's going to be much harder to read. And so having that 16-point font will be really helpful for that, especially for those that don't have uh, um, a a large screen and maybe their eyesight isn't so great. So, and then of course, you always want to have a clear call to action at the end and just have one. You don't want to clutter it up for multiple call to actions. Something clear. You can mix it up and something that looks good on mobile as well. So those are things that you can really look at. You can look at other people's emails to see, what it's like. If you want to subscribe to my website, marketopiahq.com, you can see my emails that come through. I use, just plain white background. It's on the outline. It's on the outside of the text. The white space is light gray. I just have one image on there and just make it super simple. So if you want an example, you can use that, or you can subscribe to other people that you follow and see what their emails look like. And most of them will be really clean looking, mobile responsive. Again, look at your stuff on your phone when you send out emails, because that's where you're going to see like a lot of people are going to be there. And you may find that if your stuff isn't readable or doesn't look like it's readable, then that's where you're going to have a lot of people just not read your emails and then lose interest and then just become a dead lead. And that's the last thing you want. So hopefully this helps you, and talk to you next time. And if you have any comments, any other questions you have, list them down below. And if you want to take a screenshot of your emails to show us what yours looks like, that'd be awesome. And looking forward to talking to you next time.